Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another webinar, the first one of 2023. And I'm Ariana, the host for this webinar. And today joining us, we have Tom Kubiniec, the president and CEO of SecureIt. He is the perfect guy to present today's topic over guns and ammo storage. And something really interesting that I've actually heard Tom talk about in a previous podcast is decentralized storage. I'll, of course, leave him to properly inform us on how important it is to implement this technique for home defense storage. But first, thank you, Tom, for joining us to present this topic. And why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you've helped change the idea of gun storage and safety?
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity. I love what you guys do, the whole concept, everything that you guys do does so much for the industry. So the lightning fast version of how I got to this chair. I was a professional musician, guitar player in Hollywood, chronic tendonitis, ended my career, started a business in sales, developed websites in the late 90s, a freak phone call about storing an MP5, which I didn't know what it was, got me thinking about weapon storage in 2002. And a little research, I found out that the military was really struggling to store firearms or store weapons in their armories. They were transitioning from the M16 to the M4. Every weapon rack they had didn't work. So in 2002, we started looking at designing weapon storage solutions for the U.S. military. I have no military experience. I really didn't even know what a weapon rack looked like. And we initially worked with a manufacturer, started designing, selling, and working on things. And then in 2008, we won a contract with USAFIC, U.S. Army Special Forces Command, which is now part of SOCOM. It's Army Special Forces, to tour their armories and give them a report as to why their armories are failing and then make recommendations. We were a 3-person company, and we kind of went in there arrogantly just saying, guys, we are the leading authority on small arms storage. We're the guys for this. And but we backed it up. We spent 18 months with access to armories that civilians don't get. And we really became the experts in weapons storage. At that time, we developed our Cradle Grid, or our weapon storage, was it the SecureIt Tactical Weapon Storage Platform, now we call Cradle Grid. 3 years later, we were the primary supplier to the U.S. military for small arms and armory design. And today we're the global leader in military weapon storage, and we provide armory design services. 2015, we went into the consumer products group with a line of products, which we'll get to in the presentation. But that's the lightning round version.
It's impressive. But you also, I read that you had received the Patriots Award for the amount of dedication and work you put towards safe gun storage as well. I saw that and I was like,
the Patriot, that really is more about the warfighter and doing things to help people getting out of the military, offering jobs, just helping the soldiers with their lives. That's more on the military side. And that actually that award happened right when we were looking at going into consumer products or going to civilian products.
Wow. Well, so thank you. And thank you to everyone as well for joining to watch this month's webinar. Remember, we'll have a Q&A portion at the end. Yeah. So make sure to leave any questions you have. I know we have some pre-submitted, so we'll get through those first. But leave them, whether you're watching Facebook or YouTube, just leave them in the comments and we'll try to sort through them and get to them at the end. I will now leave Tom to present to us on how we can maximize our home defense security and some storage tip locations as well.
All right, I'm going to bring a presentation in. I think I just drag it in, right? There we go. All right, so guys, this is a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to move fairly quickly through this. I'm not a big PowerPoint fan. However, the information is good. I do go fast, but the information will reside on YouTube. So if you're unsure on something, go back, re-listen to it, and you can also come to our website, contact us, and we can supply you with answers to any questions you have. So today's agenda, I'll talk a little bit about SecureIt. We already covered the quick story, gun safe misconceptions and the industry, kind of where it's at. What is decentralized storage and the concept of, firearm storage as it relates to home defense. I'll do a quick overview of some of the SecureIt products and then get to the Q&A. And really, in my opinion, I'd like to spend most of the time in Q&A answering your questions. Everybody has their own thoughts, their own ideas, and I love hearing from other people and just providing information. So a little bit about SecureIt. Again, we talked about it quickly. We started in 2001. We developed our tactical weapon storage platform working with U.S. Army Special Forces. That's now called Cradle Grid. And then in 2015, we went into the consumer products group with a line of fast access gun safes and storage solutions, really that are based on almost 15 years of experience designing and building military armories. So let's talk a little about gun safe misconceptions. Now, I'm going to go through this. There's a lot of information here, and I'm going to be really frank and blunt with this stuff. I've pissed off a lot of people with this conversation, and I've taken a lot of heat online from people with this conversation. I'm not a gun safe guy. I'm a weapon storage guy and a gun storage guy. The information I present about the gun safe industry is factual, and you may have spent $2,000, $3,000 on a gun safe. You may not like what I have to say, but this is all accurate information. I just want to lead with that. So first concept, let's talk about gun safes. Weight equals security. So weight does not equal security. Weight equals drywall in a gun safe. Almost all gun safes in America are anywhere from 9 to 14 gauge. Liberty's, I think they're 9 to 11. Canon is about the same. Stack-on goes more 14 gauge steel. That's what almost all of them are. The original fire-rated safe, I'm going to go back, 1865, Silas Herring patented what is considered the modern fire-rated safe, which is, the square basic shape of a safe. What he did was steel box, inner box, and outer steel box, and he filled the inside with plaster of Paris or cement. And that is still how fire-rated safes are made today. Now, fast forward to the 1970s, when the gun safe industry really launched and gun safe companies started producing safes. Well, to build a safe large enough to hold firearms, long guns, and to follow that design, the safes are so heavy you can't put them on a wood floor. You can't really move them up stairs easily. They're just far too heavy for home use. So what the industry did is they eliminated the outer wall, they eliminated the concrete, and the inner steel became the outside of the safe. Then they lined it with drywall. They did this for twofold. They call it for fire rating. Really, it's more about adding weight to the safe so that when you open the door, the safe doesn't tip over. Now, let's talk about safe security of these new safes. If you look at brochures, if you talk to distributors, dealers, they're going to focus your attention on the door. And when you look at safes and how they talk about security, you've got, a lot of the companies use level 1, level 2, or level A, level B. Level 1 security is, bolts around the door, 11 gauge steel safe. It's got a combo lock. It's your basic safe. Level 2 security, they're going to add corner bolts. They're going to add a little drill plate over, so you can't, because there's a spot in a safe where you could drill, you might be able to drill the lock, but they add a hardened steel plate, so you can't do that. That's level 2. Level 3 is going to be hardened steel over the whole door. There's no way you're going to get this door open. I'm going to walk into your house. I'm going to remove guns from your safe in about 20 seconds. I don't care what kind of door you have. I'm simply going to ignore the door. The reality of our world today is I can grab a little skill saw. It's a circular saw I bought in 1987, the year I got married. I can go to Home Depot and I'm going to buy this blade that's made for the concrete industry. It cuts rebar up to 1 inch thick all day long. It's a steel carbide blade designed for cutting rebar. Mount that in the saw. I'm going to ignore the door, go to the side of your safe. I will cut a hole in the side of your safe in about 20 seconds. I can cut through a safe. Even like the heaviest safes in America right now, gun safes, are 8, 9 gauge steel, not much heavier than that. I can cut through it at the rate I cut through 3/4 inch plywood. Even if you go to plate steel, it's nominally slower. I mean, I'm not bashing the industry. I'm just saying that technology has moved past the gun safe. So gun safes and security, I'm going to say there's not a lot there. Now, if you look on the door of your safe, all gun safes have a sticker on the door, and it's got a UL class rating RSC. Now, UL is Underwriter's Laboratory. Underwriters Laboratory was formed by the insurance industry in the late 1800s. Electricity was coming into homes in America. This was new technology. Insurance companies that wrote fire insurance policies were really scared. They didn't know what to do because the fear was that this new electricity would cause fires. They created Underwriters Laboratory to test and certify all electrical components going into homes. And if you go to the store today, buy an extension cord, a lamp, anything electrical, you're going to see a little tag on it with a little UL listed. Everything electrical still has it. They still do that today. At the same time, safes in general were growing in America. And the insurance industry went to UL and said, we want you guys to come up with a rating system for gun safes or for safes so that we can write insurance policies. So UL created a whole series of ratings from Class A, Class B, Class C. There's probably 12 different ratings. And what that does is if you've got like a jewelry store and you've got $2 million worth of diamonds, the insurance company will say, okay, here's your insurance policy. To get this rate, you're required to have a Class A safe. So the gun industry in the 70s started making these safes. Insurance said, guys, what are you guys making? So they had UL certify these safes or test the safes. And they came up with the rating RSC. Class RSC. RSC stands for Residential Security Container. And if you've got a gun safe, you open it up, you'll see a sticker on the door. That's what it says. What's missing? It's the word safe. UL wouldn't allow the use of the word safe in the rating because they felt these didn't meet the minimum performance for them to call them a safe. So what is the UL class rating RSC? What is that safe per UL certified to protect you against? It prevents 5-minute access from one person with a hammer of less than 3 pounds, a pry bar of less than 18 inches, and a small hand drill. I want you to think about that. That's a hammer, a screwdriver, and a little drill. It's a 1950s threat level. That is what Class RSC is. And when you take modern firearms or modern tools, carbide blades, this technology, you cut through these safes like butter. So a big gun safe is no more secure than a simple metal box. So how do you bring security into your home? Secrecy is the best thing you can do. And one thing that drives me nuts in this industry is, and when I came into this industry, when I first started looking at it, I was shocked. You look at a brochure pick any big American safe company, and you're going to see an ad in a magazine. You see the safe with the beautiful writing on it. It's in a room with a river rock fireplace, a pool table, a view of the Rocky Mountains just an incredible room, incredible looking home, and this beautiful safe. And the verbiage they use is heritage and heirloom and pride of ownership, showpiece. It kills me. A gun safe is not a showpiece. It's not heritage. It's not an heirloom. It's designed for security. If you put your gun safe in your family room, you are just telling everybody that comes over to your home, here's where all my valuables are. And if you're having a party, if you're not sure who's coming in or kids having people in, you're telling everybody where your gun safe is. And if they are a professional, they will open it in minutes with a saw. You can come into my home. I've got a very large gun collection. You would never know I own a firearm. Yet I'm never more than 2, maybe 3 second access to having a firearm in my hand, capability to defend myself. Gun safe, let's talk a little bit about capacity. I'm not going to go into this. This is so stupid. Again, I don't mean to bash on an industry, but when we went into retail, the first thing I didn't know much about gun safes. I had a contact at Liberty Safe who loved what we were doing in the military. I got a meeting scheduled with their senior team. I thought we would license our technology to Liberty Safe and have them install our cradle grid system in their safes. Sat down with them, had a meeting, and I used their Fat Boy Jr. as a test safe, and we built it out. And they came and said, Tom, your system in that safe only holds 12 guns. I'm like, guys, that safe holds 12 guns. And somebody in the room said, that safe has a 40 gun rating. And I looked at him and I said, guys, that's nonsense. There's no way you would ever fit 40 guns in that safe. And their head of sales, senior guy, he looked at me and he said, Tom, that's our industry's little white lie. We say 40, they say 42, we say 44. And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, customers are smarter than this. But I'll tell you that the American consumer has accepted this. Everybody knows you buy a safe, you're never going to touch the capacity. Now, in my world in the military, I have to build a very strict set of guidelines. I have no tolerances for deviation. If I'm designing a system to hold 160 guns, it has to hold 160 guns, and it has to hold them properly. All my tolerances I work with are strictly spelled out. In the gun safe industry, there are no tolerances. There is no code that you build to. So they're all just kind of winging it. And this capacity thing has just gotten crazy. Corrosive materials in safes. I'm going to talk about fire ratings first because it relates to corrosion. Fire ratings are nonsense. This is going to be hard for some of you to believe. I'll explain. I think you'll understand. I'll talk a little about the testing process. US-made safes, a handful of them, do go through a testing process. If you buy an import safe, and the vast majority of safes sold in America do come from Asia. When we decided to go into retail and I was doing all my research, I went to China, went to Ningbo, and I toured and met with several gun safe manufacturers. I'm on a fact-finding mission. I'm trying to learn more about this industry. So I'm talking to these guys about making a SecureIt safe. And they spoke decent English, and we're going through specs. I'm asking questions, really learning and listening. And the safe we're looking at, I don't remember what brand it was, had a 60-minute rating on the door. Fire, it's a 60-minute fire rating. And I start talking about fire rating, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, if we're going to do a safe, we've got to make it a little better. So I asked him, I said, could you do a 90-minute rated safe? And he said, sure, absolutely. I said, what would you do different? And he goes, well, we can make the sticker say whatever you want. I said, no, on the interior of the safe. And he looks at me and goes, no, we'll just change the sticker. And then I asked him, now, do you do any kind of testing for this? And he didn't understand the question about testing, because he's thinking about he didn't get what I was trying to ask. I actually went to a translator at that point, and no, they do no testing whatsoever. They simply make up a sticker. They take a metal box, they put drywall carpeting in it, they throw a sticker on the door, whether it's 30, 60, 90, doesn't matter. There is no testing. In the US, they do test safes. However, the test does not match real world experience, fire, what happens in a fire. And I'll explain. The safe test, and I know this because we build the True Safe, which is a true cement-filled safe that we do produce. It's incredibly heavy. It's incredibly expensive. We make it to prove a point that this is what a true safe is. I think it's too heavy, but we went through the whole testing process. And what they do, they put the safe into this big oven. They put temperature probes in the safe, close it all up. They fire up the oven. It very quickly goes to 1200 degrees, and then you wait. And you're basically baking the safe. The temperature slowly comes up. Now, our True Safe went 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's pretty impressive. I would give it a 40-minute rating, no more than that. Your 90-minute, your 60-minute safes, well, we cooked off a safe this summer. I don't remember, 18 minutes or 20 minutes. Here's what happens in a fire. Fires are convective. They're not static. In the test oven, it's like the air is not moving. In a real fire, the air is moving violently. I want you to think about this. You're cooking a pizza. You got your oven at 450 degrees, preheating it. Put the pizza in. You could put your hand in that 450-degree oven and hold it there. The air is hot, but it's not burning you. I'll bet you could hold your hand there for probably a minute. There's a point where it's heating up where you'd have to pull it out before you start burning. Now, take a small jet engine with the exhaust coming out at 60 miles an hour at 450 degrees. Put your hand in that exhaust stream. It'll burn the skin off your bones in half a second. It'll rip you apart. In a raging fire in a home, the air is moving in excess of 60 miles an hour. Your gun safe stands no chance. It's not going to survive. The other side of fire ratings that the industry doesn't talk about that I think is really important is, let's suppose you've got a safe and you've got all You've got AR platforms and chassis guns. You don't have any wood guns in there. Now, wood will burn at about 450 degrees. But let's say you've got ARs, you've got aluminum chassis, you've got synthetic. You have a safe. You have a fire. Fire gets put out, and there's your safe. You open it up, and there's the guns in there. You go, they look okay. Do you know how hot your safe got inside? You don't. When we did the cook-off, we cooked the safe. We simulated a room and cooked the safe. It busted 400 degrees in about 20 minutes. We put the fire out. 20 minutes later, the inside of that safe was 700 degrees because the metal was so hot, it kept going into the safe. You don't know how hot your guns got. Hardened steel starts losing its hardening 400 degrees, 380 to 420. Annealing starts losing its properties at 680 degrees. So that's your barrel, that's your bolt, that's all those components of a gun. The point is, if your gun safe is involved in a hot fire, you shouldn't shoot those guns. Buy insurance, replace them, because you don't know how hot they got. You just don't know the safety level. So when it comes to fire ratings, we don't do fire ratings on anything that we sell. The gun safe industry does fire ratings, but they can't back it up. It's nonsense. It really is. It's based on a test that is the wrong test. I want to talk a little about corrosion because it ties in the fire ratings that gun safes do. What they do, they line the safes with drywall and they put carpeting in. Here's the problem. Now, the gun safes every year sells millions of dollars of products like the goldenrod, desiccants, and dehumidifiers to stop corrosion. My grandfather had shotguns, a couple of rifles, and a glass case in his den as a kid growing up for 50 years. He lived near Niagara Falls, near Lake Erie, an area known for its humidity. They didn't rust. He had a gun over his fireplace most of my life. It didn't rust. I've got a couple old shotguns from the 20s in my home. They're not corroding. A properly cleaned and oiled gun won't corrode. Yet the industry's selling millions of dollars of these products. Why? It's because gun safes are very corrosive. The materials used in a gun safe are very corrosive. I'll start from the outside in. And now, the reason I know this is I build a lot of armories in museums. We've done a lot of relic guns, vintage guns. We've done some pretty big museums. And in the museum world, the materials I'm talking about are all banned specifically by name. These materials would never be allowed in a military armory because they're corrosive. The carpeting is held onto the drywall with an adhesive. And it's a mastic. It's a rubberized mastic that stays soft. It stays rubbery. So if you pull the carpeting off, it never dries or cracks, so the carpeting won't fall. To prevent mildew and mold on that rubbery adhesive, they impregnate it with formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is highly corrosive. Next, we go to the drywall. Formaldehyde is used in drywall manufacturing. It's used as a dispersing agent in the slurry when they're actually pouring it out. Corrosive. Drywall also contains elemental sulfur. It's part of the gypsum. When they mine gypsum, it's got sulfur in it. Sulfur slowly breaks down over time into sulfurous and sulfuric acids. It's in your gun safe. Next, you've got pyrite. Pyrite also exists in drywall. There's in U.S. mine drywall, there's pyrite in there. In Chinese mine drywall, there's a lot of pyrite. It's a mineral. It's fool's gold. It's extremely common. But in that drywall, over time, a little bit of humidity, not much, pyrite also breaks down. And it breaks down into sulfuric acid and a few other components, a few other acids. Also, you've got ferrooxidant bacteria that live on the pyrite. Ferrooxidant bacteria, it's a bacteria that eats metal. It's used in the mining industry to strip metal from low-grade ores, and it slowly consumes the pyrite. It off-gases acids. That ferrooxidant can also, if it gets into firearms, the look of ferrooxidant contamination is corrosion. It looks like rust. So the industry, in what they're doing, they've created truly a toxic box. And the reason they sell all these products is corrosion is a real issue. Now, they could use non-corrosive materials. It would cost a little bit more, not much. I don't know why they don't. SecureIt's not aligned with that industry. We're kind of the outside guys, but We build to military standards. All my consumer products could be used in a military armory. They're all built to that standard. And we use none of these products. Now, I will say, if you have a gun safe, the best defense is to simply open the door once a week, once a month, and just air it out. Just let the air change. It's not that big of a deal unless you keep it sealed up. When you're looking at it, does slowly dissipate over time, but you're talking 30, 40 years of time as that pyrite and sulfur break down. If you're ever at a store, safe, the door's been closed for a week, it's a new safe, open the door slowly, put your nose in. Even with your own safe's been closed for a while. Did you ever notice a hint of sulfur? That is sulfuric and sulfurous acid. It's a process happening. So what is the best defense about that? Desiccants. Something to remove moisture. Golden rods, those heating products are popular. But what they're doing is they're changing the relative humidity. They're changing humidity relative to temperature. Your house is 72 degrees, your safe is 72 degrees. Let's say it's 58% humidity. You put the golden rod in there, plug it in. Now your safe is 80 degrees. Well, 50% humidity at 72, at 80 degrees might be 33%. I don't know the exact math on it, 30% humidity. But it's humidity relative to temperature. Have you removed the water? Nope. With the increased temperature, you've accelerated chemical reactions. Now we're talking minute amounts, but you're still doing it. Desiccants remove moisture. That's if you're concerned about rust, desiccants are where you want to go. Dehumidifiers. Remove the water. Don't raise the temperature. Let me move on here. So the information I just talked about, I hit the safes pretty hard, but you know what? They could change. And our goal is, we're trying to get American gun owners to change the way they think about firearm storage, because we see a lot of problems, preventable problems that don't exist in the military because the standards have been set. And we're trying to set a standard for the consumer market that will basically make us all safer and better prepared. So let's talk a little about decentralized storage for your home. So when you look at decentralized storage, what that is it's the process of breaking up the big gun safe, or the concept of the big gun safe, and storing guns where it makes sense, storing guns in locations that actually give you a tactical advantage. We look at firearm storage from the performance side. What we build is performance firearm storage, meaning it aligns with why you own guns. From a self-defense standard, access, location, and security all tie together as part of your home defense plan. So where do you store guns in your home? Now, you're probably all reading the slide, but I'm going to run through this. A thief breaks into your home. Now, this is pulled from FBI crime data. Spent a lot of time, we did a lot of research. Thief breaks into your home. He's going master bathroom, master bedroom, home office den, dining room. He exits the home. He's in and out of your home in less than 9 minutes. Typically, once they find something of value in that path, they leave the home. Once they've got anything of value, I win, I leave. Master bathroom, they're looking for prescription drugs. Number one thing they want. Then they go to valuables. So when we look at firearm storage and security, your master bedroom is the worst place to keep valuables of any kind. However, it's where we sleep and people are vulnerable. So from a home defense standpoint, one firearm, if it's two people and they're both trained, proficient, one firearm per person in a small, fast access safe. Now I've got a fast box under my bed with an AR-15. It's racked, ready to roll. I use frangible rounds, so it busts up in drywall. It's got a simple red dot on it. That's what I keep in there. I can access that gun in 2.5 seconds, maybe less. Next, I look at the kitchen. People during daytime spend a lot of time, especially in a modern home. A kitchen is a room we spend a lot of time. It's also a room thieves kind of ignore. Thieves aren't there to steal, peanut butter and Fruit Loops or whatever, but we spend a lot of time there. Now, small kitchen, compact kitchen, small handgun safe in a cabinet, very quick access. I happen to have a large pantry. I also happen to have a larger gun collection. I have one of our Agile cabinets in my pantry. It holds 6 rifles, part of my collection, one of which is an AR-15. It's racked, ready to roll. I can be armed very quickly. Also, most kitchens have an access point in and out of the home. So if I'm home alone, somebody breaks in, I can arm myself and get out of the house. Front hall closet. It's a great location. This is one of the more secure locations in your home. Thieves ignore closets. They're not interested in your coats. So I have a larger collection at my home. I've got an Agile cabinet with 6 guns in that closet. Some lever actions, couple vintage guns, and I've got a Mossberg 500. I go to my front door. There's somebody there. I decide I don't want to let them in. They want to get cute. I'm armed, able to defend myself 2 to 3 seconds. It's very quick. I look at a family room den. Again, not a particularly secure room. However, it's where we spend a lot of time, but you've got a lot of traffic, again, friends, family, other people coming in. So a small, discreet, safe handgun or a rifle. I've got a fast box in mind. I'm a long gun guy. I train. I like to shoot with long guns. That's how I choose to defend myself. Everybody's got their way of doing it. So a small handgun safe or a longer rifle safe. The bulk of my collection then is in a guest bedroom. I happen to have a bedroom at the end of a hallway. It's an extra bedroom. We don't use it. It's for guests. When you open the door to that room, there's a made bed, or it's stripped, a nightstand with a lamp, some generic art, and a chair, and the room is empty. Now, a thief taking a little more time running a house, he's going to open that door, see nothing in here. He's moving on. He's not going to take the time. In that closet, I've got a quad system. I've got 24 rifles, some handguns, ammo. I got a bunch of stuff in there. That bedroom's also at the end of a hallway. So in the event that my kids are home, people are home, and we get a home invasion, we get to that room, and now we're armed, and I've got a constriction point. I've got a hallway. There's no way anybody's getting to us. Other locations in your home for firearm storage, again, when you're storing firearms, you want to think about secrecy. Laundry rooms. It's a great place to store. If you got a big gun safe, put it in your laundry room. These don't care about laundry. If you're decentralizing, a small cabinet in your garage, discreet, small cabinet in your garage is a good place to store firearms. Closets in general are good places to store firearms. Typically, people ignore closets. So I've moved pretty quickly through that. There's a lot more information on our website if you want to get more into it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about SecureIt products. So everything we do is lightweight, comparatively. And when I say lightweight, is our Agile cabinet, our most popular product, it's 100 pounds. Is lightweight less secure? No. The gun safe industry wants you to believe that weight is security. It is not. Weight is weight. Our cabinets are the same gauge steel as everybody else's. We just don't have the drywall. So the Agile weighs about 100 pounds. You go into our larger answer cabinets, you're into 100, 200 pounds, 220. You're still, everything we sell, you can move with a hand truck. Something to think about with gun safes. The average American now moves every 6.3 years. And I look at that data, every 3 to 5 years, that number is going down and down. We as a society are becoming more mobile. People move a lot more. If you've got a big, heavy gun safe, moving companies will not move them. They don't want them in the trucks for liability reasons. So you have to hire a local gun safe company to move it from your house, a trucking company to truck it to your new location, and a gun safe company there to reinstall it. That whole process will cost more than the price of your safe. So if you talk to realtors, the two most left behind things when people move are hot tubs and gun safes. So we bring modular, lightweight gun safes, which you can live with. Now our Agile line ships flat, you actually assemble it. And it's a patented slide lock technology that's incredibly strong given its weight. But we're also telling you, you locate these in discrete locations. Now, will the saw that I can open your safe in 20 seconds open mine? Absolutely. But with my system in my home, odds are you're not going to find them. If you're gone for a week and a thief knows it, in my home, let's say the worst case scenario is he finds a safe, opens it, I'll lose a few guns. But again, when a thief finds something of value, they leave. The rest of my stuff is safe. If you got one big dinosaur safe with everything in it, one and done. They open that safe. And if they're a pro, they're going to open it quickly. Everything is gone. Now, all of our products use cradle grid technology, which was originally the SecureIt tactical weapon storage platform. And what that does, it's a flexible, modular, adjustable system that provides proper storage. We define this working with U.S. Army Special Forces so that all rifles are stored free and clear. Nothing is touching. You've got room for optics up to a 5-inch thermal imaging, so all scopes are free and clear. They're never banging into each other. All guns are stored in one row. You never dig through a safe. You're never laying guns on the ground to dig to get to a gun in the back. That also gives you what we call organizational awareness. All your guns are in one row. You open a safe up, boom, you know right away if something's missing. Now, if you got a great big dinosaur safe, guns packed in there and they're all stacked up all over the place, you could have a 22 that's not in there. You might not know it for a year. With our system, you glance at it, you know what you've got. Also, with our platform, we address the integration of gear and guns. And that was the big win with the military. We went from a tiny company to the primary supplier for the US military, not because of the gun storage, which worked and they liked, but because we could integrate gear. In the military, the volume of high value gear, and this is gear that's required to be stored in the Army because it's expensive. We're talking about night vision goggles, high-end optics, thermal imaging. All these items all end up in the Armory. They have to be stored, organized, serialized. You have to count them. It's got to be done in a way where they can track it and count it and basically the stuff they deal with gets very complex and difficult. Our solution allowed them to do that very easily. We now see the same dynamic in the civilian market. Look at the amount of gear associated with firearms. If you've been hunting a long time, you go back 30, 40 years, we hunted with a 30-30 with iron sights or a shotgun with iron sights. Maybe you'd have a scope on a rifle. You come up today, guns are becoming modular. You've got the AR platform. We've got chassis guns. We've got optics on everything and a lot of other gear. Our Cradle Grid solution allows you to integrate gear storage with your firearm storage, which gives you a huge advantage in terms of just how you manage your whole firearms and your whole life around hunting, however you use them. So that went quick. So we're at the Q&A portion of this. Again, I moved pretty quick through this. There's a lot to unpack. And I hope some of the points I brought up didn't tick people off. A lot of people own a lot of big safes, and I see problems with them. However, just open the door once in a while, use a desiccant, and then if you're concerned, if you'd like better storage, we do have conversion kits that allow you to install our system into traditional safes. But the other side is, there's nothing wrong with take your safe. I would recommend putting it in a location that's as discreet as possible, but then pull a couple of your home defense guns, put them in fast access safes in areas that make a little more sense. And everybody's house is different. I've went through some stuff pretty quickly here. And again, there's more information on our website, but it's not really rocket science. It's really think about where do you spend most of your time? Where do you feel vulnerable? Investing in a small, fast access safe and put it in that location. Give you peace of mind. It'll make you safer and better prepared. So guys, there will be a discount code for purchasing anything from SecureIt within the link for this meeting. Now, Q&A. I've got some questions that were brought up. There we go.
I'm back, but
we are back.
Yes. Thank you for all that helpful information. You really just nailed it. I was like thinking of a question and then you just answered it.
That's that's the Reader's Digest lightning round. I've got a couple of questions that were sent in. I can go through real quick. There was our safes sold by SecureIt with dry rod dehumidifiers. We don't. But a dehumidifier is the correct tool. Our solutions have no drywall. There's no corrosive properties. And if a gun is properly cleaned and oiled, it's not going to corrode. I live in central New York, which is known for, we can get very humid in the summer. I don't use them, and I've never had an issue with my firearms. I have no children in my home. Would securing my firearms be of equal concern compared to someone having children in your home? Now, I'm going to tie this into another question that I got, which is, does high and out of reach of my children satisfy Florida's law saying firearms must not be readily accessible to children? And now I can't talk to Florida law. I don't, but I can talk to what you're talking about. And both these questions tie in. As firearms owners, the best thing we can do to protect our Second Amendment rights is to be responsible. And all firearms need to be secured, need to be locked. And when we're talking about locked out of sight. I'm not a big fan of trigger guards, trigger locks, because they make the gun inaccessible to you as well. They're very slow. All the solutions we provide, and there's others out there, secure the firearm in a way that nobody knows it's there. So I'm gonna run the story. Let's say you got somebody with no kids. Well, I don't worry about it. I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids. So here's the kind of scenario that can happen. You've got a couple, elderly couple, no kids, no grandkids. He's got firearms in his house. Next door neighbors are a family, young family, great kids, great people. Horrible tragedy. The husband has a freak heart attack out of the blue. It's crazy. Ambulance is there. Police is there. Things are going crazy. It's chaotic. The wife's freaking out. She's got to go to the hospital. They got the kids. The next door neighbors will watch the kids. Oh, great. Thank you. They're great. They all get along. They all trust each other. Now the kids are at this other house. Let's say the guy's not doing so good. He may not make it. Again, the wife's at the hospital, distraught. Maybe she's there for a few days. The kids are in this house. Now, this guy's had guns unsecured in his home for years. He's not thinking about it. He may not, in some cases, he may not know where they are. The kids are in this home. They've been there, and they're bored. When kids are bored, they get curious. They start doing things, looking around, doing stuff. You see where this is going. You're setting up for an additional horrible tragedy. Now, when you do research on accidental deaths and tragedies like this, and you can do your own research, many of the cases, it was a string of events like this. It was crazy. People, the craziest things do happen. But if you look at that whole chain of events, all you got to do is break that chain, and simply putting the firearm into a locked box. And fast access gives you that gun in a couple of seconds, stops that chain. You know, I look at Lanza in New Hope or Newtown, that shooting. He walked into his mother's home, picked up an unlocked, unsecured firearm, and fired 2 rounds into her chest and killed her. Now, if she had had her guns locked properly, is it possible that she could have recognized her son had blown a gasket and maybe diffused it, maybe got him help, maybe stopped this? I mean, there's no way to know, but she never had the opportunity to even talk. So if we're going to own firearms, if we're going to take on that responsibility, and let's face it, freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. It's, in my opinion, if you own firearms, lock them up. There's no excuse to not have your firearms locked in modern fast access safes. You get your guns so fast, and during the daytime, if you're concerned, just carry. But hope that answers those questions. How best to determine the trade-off between cost, weight, and level of security? I don't consider those trade-offs because location is your level of security. And really, in the modern world of modern tools, all the things the gun safe industry does, if a guy knows what he's doing, he's going to cut open your safe. When you look at the data, and sometimes not easy to find, the biggest data I found was break-ins to cell phone companies where they use gun safes. They use safes to hold cell phones, and they always cut a hole in the side of the safe. Home security is getting better. And we'll talk briefly about this. The number one thing you can do to prevent a break-in in your home occurs on the outside. Trim your bushes, keep your house looking neat and things away from your home, and motion sensor lights. Somebody approaching your house, if it lights up, the odds are they're not going to break into your home. You got to look at thieves like bullies in school. They're looking for the weakest kid. And all you have to do is not be the weakest one. It's like if you have 10 guys being chased by the bear, you don't need to be the fastest. You just don't want to be the slowest. So simple steps to make the outside of your home seem less accessible, and that guy will move on. So what else do we have?
I think we have a couple from the pre-submitted, and then we have some in the comments. But before we finish the rest of the questions, we can have a little break for you. But
okay.
I know I learned a lot whenever you were going through all that, especially whenever you were talking about the differences between the home safe security and also with homes. Like whenever you move to a new home, you don't think about the fact that if you're having a huge, heavy safe, that's like the number one thing that you're going to leave behind. So why would you end up spending all that money on something you're going to end up leaving, especially if you're moving a lot? But if you're looking to purchase a gun safe, or if you're even watching this webinar to learn how to store your guns, that means that you probably have already purchased a gun before, which means if you ever do have to defend yourself with a firearm or any legal weapon that is in your home or even outside your home, then what happens after you protect yourself? You might have to go to trial and defend yourself legally after just defending yourself, whether it's at your home or outside, which may cost a lot of money. So before we get finished with all the rest of the questions that were pre-submitted and some that we had some just come through in the comment section, I'm going to quickly discuss what Firearms Legal Protection has to offer for you.
Firearms Legal Protection offers several different memberships to whoever is interested in signing up for legal protection. These plans are divided into individual plans and a family plan, which some benefits and pricing vary state by state. For the purposes of this webinar, we will look at our most common plans and benefits that are available in most states. The individual basic plan includes protection in your state of residence. It also includes an uncapped payment of attorney fees for defense of criminal and civil cases. Firearms Legal Protection memberships also extend to all legal weapons, including non-lethal weapons. With the individual basic plan, you also have Defense of Extreme Risk Protection Orders, also known as red flag laws. All plans have access to the 24/7 emergency attorney answered hotline, so no matter a time an incident may occur, you can count on our hotline and an attorney will pick up for immediate attorney-client privileges. You also have access to the MyFLP mobile app and one of our recently added benefits, expungement of criminal record on non-conviction incidents. Members of all plans also receive access to digital content and special discounts. The next step up is the individual premium plan. This plan has nationwide coverage and also includes all the benefits just mentioned and payment of bail bond premium, payment of expert witness and investigator fees if either are needed in your case. There's also coordination of counseling support, payment of lost wages if you are out of work during trial, and a list of other benefits. We also have the family premium plan to choose from for those who want the same protection also applied to their family. For just a little bit more, you get all the benefits that were just mentioned applied to your spouse and all minor children. If you want more information over these benefits, then check out our Instagram or Facebook page for uploaded explained benefit videos. Remember, if you, friends, or family are not already protected by Firearms Legal Protection, please click the link below for a special discount we offer our webinar viewers. Now, let's get back to today's webinar.
So that basically sums it up. But I think there might have been one other pre-submitted question as well. I was trying to sort through them because, I mean, you answered all of them. You might have like even gone over some while answering the other ones.
Well, but Brian had the question from a tactical home defense perspective, where are the preferred locations? And that's, our principles of decentralized storage. We talked about it. It's detailed on our website. But I look at, master bedroom, kitchen, front hall, closet. Those are my first three. Then I would look at den. And then, it's where do you spend a lot of time, or where do you feel vulnerable? Is kind of how I look at that.
Sweet. There's one as well about closets that we got from YouTube. So closets, what about a walk-in closet at the end of a master bathroom, which is off the master bedroom?
I don't have a lot of data on that. It's interesting because they're going to that master bedroom looking for drugs. Now, the thief is going to believe that jewelry and valuables will be in a closet in a master bedroom. That's where people tend to keep their personal belongings. So they're probably going to hit that. However, you got a big closet, you got clothes and stuff, a safe behind that, I have a safe in my walk-in closet in my master bedroom. I do have one in there. I've got a few guns in there. It's a fast box, got 2 rifles, and I've got a tray, which is some stuff in there, other things in there. But it's kind of tucked in where you don't really notice it. If somebody was digging through the clothing going crazy, sure, they'd find it. It's just, again, it's not really rocket science. It's just, don't make it obvious. It's simple things done with purpose. It really solves a lot of problems.
Makes sense. Let's see. So this one also for me too. What's your most reliable and basic setup for a handgun? If I have they have a lot of students with this question, I guess.
Handgun storage is interesting. We've been primarily long guns since we've come into this market. We are now just going into the handgun market this year. So we've primarily focused on the long gun side. However, our fast box holds a rifle. It also holds handguns. And then goes under your bed. It can go lay flat under your bed. It can go vertical. There's a lot of ways to do that. And then we have a line of handgun storage solutions that will be hitting our website in about a month and a half. And then we've got a major product release in the third quarter of this year. But when you look at handgun storage, I'll answer the question is, I look at fast access. And if you're a handgun user, and I do shoot a lot of handguns. I've done a lot of training with handguns, but it's all about training. If you're going to draw a handgun quickly, when you carry, you got to practice that draw all the time. You practice your mechanics, because in a true crisis, you're going to get tunnel vision. You know how things just compress. You need the muscle memory. When I look at fast access, I want a fast access safe with a push button access. Fingerprint readers are nonsense when it comes to home defense, personal defense. We look at these safes as never fail pieces of equipment, meaning somebody kicks your door in and they're shooting, you need a never fail safe. Fingerprint readers, biometrics. If your hands are wet, they don't open. Hands are dirty, they don't open. If you got gloves on, they don't open. If you got a cut on your finger, they don't open. If they just don't like you that day, they don't open. It's not a great way to go. RFID. RFID is a convenience. It is a convenience way to open your safe. Is it a fast act? Okay, so again, somebody kicks your door in, you're in panic mode, you're fumbling for the fob to open your safe? No. A simple keypad, and let's use your front hall closet. Or better yet, let's use under my bed, because this is my scenario. I've got a fast box, it's bolted under my bed. So when I first bolt it there, every night I go to bed, I turn the lights out, it's dark, I reach down the dark and I do my combination. I do it slowly, methodically, and perfectly. I open the door, I remove the firearm. I do that for about 35 days straight. Then I go to about once every 3 or 4 days. Now I do it about once every week or two. What I've done after 35 days is you go from conscious to subconscious. It's a process of building muscle memory. I've done it so many times that if I'm all of a sudden shocked awake because somebody is smashed a window and they're in my house and things are going crazy, people are yelling and screaming, I'm going to lose sight. I'll get tunnel vision. I'm going to lose dexterity in my hands. Everything compresses. But I've done this so many times that without thinking, without hesitation, I will have that safe open in about 2 seconds. It's very quick. So when you look at handgun storage, this applies to rifle, but specifically to the question, your storage scenario, how you store firearms and how you access them has to be part of your training regimen. If you've got a safe in your kitchen, I'm going to recommend every morning you come down, you make your coffee, you go over, do the lock quickly, open it, remove the gun, put it back in. You do it every day. And you do it without looking sometimes. As you get good at it, you get to a point where you can open that thing in total darkness very quickly, because it's putting you in a position that when the crap hits the fan, you don't have to think. You're instinctively armed. And that's, I think that addresses the question, but again, we are performance storage. Storage and security aligned with the reason we have firearms, aligned with home defense. If you're not going to practice, it doesn't mean anything. If you buy a handgun and put it in a cupboard or lock it in a safe up in somewhere and never go to the range, you're not going to be in a position to defend yourself. You may feel secure, but you're really not. So it all comes down to push button, fast access safes, and use the technology for convenience.
Perfect. We had one question about ammunition as well. So any recommendations for ammunition?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not an expert on ammunition. That's not my wheelhouse. However, I use frangible rounds. My kids now are all in college. My wife and I are now empty nesters, I guess you'd call it. But I did have kids in my house for a long time. The frangible rounds disintegrate for the most part on drywall. And that's what I like. I will tell you that a friend of mine did a test, Gary Melton with Paramount, with sheets of drywall cut into a 4x. He had all these sheets testing what rounds go through the most drywall. And he had everything from 9 mil to 44 to, he had a 5.56, 308. He had a lot of different rounds. The one that punched through the most drywall was buckshot. And that really surprised me. It went through more rounds than a 308. So if you're looking at home defense, I like shotguns, but you got to think about that. I mean, for me, AR-15 with a frangible round, which is, I think they made that by powdered steel that's compressed into a bullet. So when it hits something, it atomizes.
Mm-hmm. What about like ammunition storage too?
Don't store ammo in a gun safe. You don't need to. I mean, Liberty makes a ammunition storage safe that's lined with drywall. If ammo's in a fire, you throw it away. It's crazy. Ammunition will cook off safely. I keep ammunition I have one of our military cabinets. We make an ammo locker. It'll hold 5,000-10,000 rounds. It's a big cabinet. And it's vented. The key with ammunition is venting it. You don't want a small bit of ammunition in a safe is fine. Thousands of rounds in a safe with drywall, you could be making a pipe bomb. Ammunition in a fire just crackles and cooks off fairly safely. But if you're in a gun safe where the inside of that safe is heating at a more even area, what's happening is that ammunition is all heating up. And when the first round reaches critical, where it starts to cook off, you could have 1,000 rounds, all very unstable, chain reaction, and now that safe is a pipe bomb. So I recommend storing ammunition in a vented cabinet. Our Agile cabinet, our fast boxes are all vented. So you can store ammunition in them. You can store just ammo in them.
Perfect. I sorted through our pre-submitted and also YouTube and Facebook questions. I think you've touched all of them. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to talk about.
I saw one guy make a comment. It was really, I appreciated it too. He said, "Hey, he's right. I work in a cell phone store. They cut the sides off." It's people don't realize that theft of cell phone stores, it happens a lot. It happens more than people think. It's a very marketable product, I guess. If anybody else has any other questions, type them in right now. But it's been I think we had a great conversation. I love what you guys do. And people, if you don't have this insurance, buy it. If you're involved in a firearms discharge, if you are involved in an incident where you shoot someone else, you want your life to be easy going forward. And it's a traumatic experience. I don't know. I can't speak personally. I have no idea. But I got to believe it's a life-changing experience. And at that point, why put yourself in a position where you're all alone? Why go through it alone? Chances are it's going to cost you all the money you have. Depending on the state you live in, there's states that are very aggressive with home defense shootings. And I know in New York State, if I defend my home and shoot someone, I will be arrested because they arrest everybody and then they sort it out. And I've got an attorney and my bills are going to rack up extremely quickly. So it's, you guys do a great service. And every gun owner, I looked at the price. It's a no-brainer.
Yep. I appreciate the support. You just did the promo for me. But yeah, I guess that is going to conclude our webinar. If you do have any additional questions, just check out their page and email us, marketing@firearmslegal.com. Thank you again, Tom, for joining us for tonight's webinar and sharing your knowledge over everything gun safe related, because it's been very beneficial, especially for me.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's, our mission, stated mission, we are trying to change the way America thinks about firearm storage and to bring the word performance into your storage scenario, because it's, again, security, access, defense, it all ties together. It has to be a coordinated, cohesive plan and products that support it, and it all works together. But thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Again, it's been the fastest hour of your life. These things.
It has. But I know you've changed my mind on gun storage, definitely. And then our viewers are well knowledgeable over it. So you probably have changed their minds as well. We have some other comments that just came through. Well, they're too late, I guess. And I think some of them have already some of those you already discussed anyway. So it's okay. We're good. But remember to click the links in the caption below to get protected at a discounted rate, and to also let us know what you would like to see in the future webinars. We have one every month. But if you enjoy content like this, then make sure to like our Facebook page and hit the subscribe button below if you're watching from YouTube, and that little bell so you can receive notification whenever we go live for our webinars like this in the future. Also, if you're an FLP member, you can get discounts on SecureIt products. Just check out your member portal for the discount code. We hope you all have a great rest of your night. And remember, protect yourself will protect you. And thank you so much for joining, Tom, and also all of our viewers as well.
Thank you very much.